Hello, hi guys, how are you? This is Faith back again. Welcome to Being Money Smart. So, this is the second video that I'm doing, and I just wanted to recap on the first video that I did. So, last week we talked about the 52 weeks challenge, and during that video, we agreed that every beginning of the week I'll be sending out a video reminding people that they need to save. So, this is just a reminder. If you're taking the 52 weeks challenge, I hope you have put your contribution for this week. If you're doing the 50 bob challenge, then you're putting in 100 shillings today, and if you're doing the 100 challenge, then you're putting in 200 shillings today. So this is a reminder. I hope you've put in your money in either your bank, your piggy bank, whichever place it is that you decided you'll be putting your money. Kindly, this is a reminder. Do put your money. You've been reminded. You have no excuse, by the way. Okay, great. So apart from that, I wanted us to discuss something that I consider to be very important. I want us to talk about the general principles of money. When you get money, what should you do with it? So over the next 3 weeks, this being the first week of Jan, we're going to discuss the 3 money principles. This being budgeting, saving, and spending. So yeah, let's go for the budgeting thing this week. So my question would be to you, do you know what a budget is? Have you ever done a budget before? Do you know people who do budgets? Or rather, how do you spend your money? When you get your salary, how do you know what should go where? Do you spend your money based on emotions? Do you spend your money based on the people you've met that day? Or do you have a description, a place where you have written down each and every expense that you own, and that directs where your money goes? So the basis of this video is just to tell you that when you get your money, you can actually direct it. How do you direct it where you want it to go? How do you do that? You do that by coming up with a budget. So a budget is not something complicated. No, you don't have to, I don't know, to be educated or have done, something in business to know how to budget. A budget is simply you writing down your expenses, your monthly expenses. There are people who are more detailed, who decide to write their weekly expenses. There are those who write their daily expenses. So it depends with you as an individual. So for the purposes of this video, we are going to do a monthly budget, which is what most people usually work with. So let's say you receive your salary. Where does that money go? If I'm to ask you today, can you tell me how much of your cash goes to food? Are you able to tell me, or you'll start saying, I don't know, it depends, or all sorts of excuses? So that is what a budget does. You know that every month you spend, if it's 5,000, you know it's 5,000 on food. If you're going to exceed it, chances are possible you're going to exceed it, but the amount will be lower than if you're just open. If you're open, you don't know how much you spend on it. It depends on your moods. If you come home tomorrow and you say I don't know, you're stressed, you want to eat, to buy some cheat food, to make yourself feel better, you go and spend. Clearly you have no budget. So a budget just gives you a strict way of following things. And the only reason why we are talking about these principles is because people have ambitions and they have those things that they want to achieve, and that they are aware that without putting certain principles in place, they'll not be able to achieve them. So as we've said, a budget is simply a breakdown of your expenses, showing where your income will be allocated to. We've said that anyone can do a budget. It does not have to be complicated. Write it down. You can write it on a piece of paper. You can buy a journal if you're one of those people. You can buy a diary if you are one of those people. You can use Excel, which is what I've used in this video. So it depends. Just write down whatever it is that you're comfortable on, whatever it is that you're comfortable using. Yeah. Then something else that we need to know about budgets is that budgets usually are adjustable. So if you budgeted last month and you feel like either prices of items have gone up, or if your salary has increased, then you can go back to your budget and adjust. I'm not saying that if your salary increases now your lifestyle changes. No. A budget also includes savings. So if your salary increases, then you can maybe increase more on savings, or if your salary increases, you can maybe reduce your debts. I don't know, there's always something that you can do. So if you have a budget, look at it periodically. You can do it every 3 months and review and say, okay, this budget is working for me, this budget is not working for me. Yeah, so this is a challenge to you. after watching this video, make sure that you have a budget. Make sure that you know where your money is going to. I'm going to insert a practical example of me doing a budget just to give you a rough idea. And from this budget, I'm not saying you should live a certain lifestyle. Please do note that a budget is highly dependent on the lifestyle that you want to lead. So if it's a high lifestyle, then of course your budget has to take that into consideration. However, if you want just a normal lifestyle, then I believe whatever amount of money it is that you get in a month can be able to accommodate your lifestyle. Yeah, basically that's it. And maybe the two most important things I need to mention is that in your budget, make sure you have savings, and savings should be the first thing when you're doing your budget. Yeah, this is to avoid cases of people who you see who usually go like, I'm not usually able to save. How are you not able to save? If you're able to spend, then definitely you're able to save, because saving should be the first thing on your budget, number one. Number two, debts should be on your budget. Yeah. This goes to show you that all those loans you're taking, if they're not being taken for the right purpose, you're going to pay them back, and they're going to affect your day-to-day expenses. So include your debts and your savings on your budget, and they should be given high priority, like on top of the list. That is why you should put those things before you put your rent, transport, food, and all those other things. So yeah, make your budget. If you're having any issues with making your budget, then you can comment down below. I will definitely try to help you. If you're not comfortable commenting down, you can write to me on our email, which I'll also link in our profile description. So you can write and I'll look at it and try to help you. And those people usually say they cannot budget for your money. I want to tell you, you can budget. You just need to sit down with someone who will make you budget. There is no person on this earth who cannot budget. Whether you're earning 10,000, you're earning 100,000, you can definitely make a budget. You can tell your money where to go to. So all those excuses you've been giving yourself, they do not exist. Yeah. So next week, when you're doing the next item, I want to get some feedback and to see people who will come back and tell me they did a budget and they realize they're living beyond their means, or they've done their budget. They've never done a budget their entire lives before. They've decided to do a budget after watching this video. Let's make those baby steps. Make that budget, see how everything goes, decide what things are unnecessary and what things are very necessary to you. At the end of the day, know that you control where your money goes to. Until next week, have a lovely week, and make sure you put your 52 weeks challenge cash on the side. So guys, as I had said, we're going to do a practical budget so that we all get to learn how one can plan for their money. So in my example, what we're seeing is someone who earns around 50,000 Kenya shillings after tax. That means that tax is deducted, they've paid NHIF and NSSF, and this 50,000 is the amount that they've received at the end of the day. So this amount can be one income, meaning one person is the one who's brought this home, or it could mean that it's a household. Two people have brought the income home, so it depends. So if you notice, the first thing, I've listed all the items that are on my budget on the left hand side, and I've started off with savings. The reason why I've written savings on top is because savings is a priority for everyone. So don't put savings at the end, then complain that you don't know why you're never able to save. And my savings I've put around 5,000, which is like 10% of my income. Right? Yeah. So if you go to the next segment, you look at rent. I've put rent of 15,000. So this definitely depends on your lifestyle. I know 15,000 is a bit, it might not be realistic on the ground. So again, as I said, it depends on your lifestyle. There's someone who will say because they're earning 50,000, they cannot live in a 15,000 house. They need to live in a cheaper house. There's someone who will actually pay 20,000 when they are getting 50K. So it depends entirely on you. Then when you look at food, for food I think is a very expensive item, and for this case I will classify food and other household items for it to make sense. So let me just amend that there. So I'll include the household items. Now, household items and food, you have to look for a place where you'll be able to save this thing, to buy the things at a very cheap price. For example, you can buy some things in wholesale. Like if you need meat, you can buy straight from a slaughterhouse rather than buying in a supermarket in order to save. Or some non-perishable items like soaps, toilet paper, you can buy in wholesale shops. Maybe in places like Garissa, I've seen around some places in South B have this kind of thing. So it all depends on you entirely how you're going to work around that. Then you have transport. I've put 7,000. This depends on how far you live. If you live in Rongai, I'm sure it's higher than that, but 7,000 is a realistic figure. And the next thing is utilities. Under utilities, we have water, we have electricity, we have TV. Yeah, so here again, it depends with your usage. If you're many people in the house, of course your water bill will be high. If you're always in the house, your electricity bill will be high. The kind of equipment that you have in your house matters, but generally I'm just gonna give it 3,000. Now when I get to debt, that's number 6. You need to realize that this depends on the individual. So if you have debt, this is where you're going to feel the pain of having debt. I'll put 4,000 there, but the reason why I put 4,000 is because I think you need to prioritize on debt. Please pay back your debts, because once you've cleared those interests, you can be able to save more. Then for entertainment, I put around 2,000 a month if you want to go out to meet friends and all of that. Then personal effects, I also put around 3,000. So 3,000 is baby salon, if you want to buy yourself a new dress and all of that. If I do a total of all my items, I find that I've spent around 49,000. So now one thing you need to note is that when you're budgeting, you need to divide your money in such a way that you're not left with anything. If you're being left with something, then it means that there will be a window for you to do whatever it is that you want, thinking that you have some extra money. So to avoid that and to give you discipline, make sure when you're doing your total, it should equate to your income, or your balance should be 0, in other words. So if I go back to look at my list, I can see I have an extra 1,000. And if I look at the items, I can see there are places where I really understated. For example, water and electricity, which has gone up of late because of KPLC. So I can go back to the list and decide to adjust. So I'm going to put that extra 1,000 under utilities. So that's going to be 4,000, such that my balance at the end of the day is going to be 0. Meaning that every time I'm out there spending money, I have to be aware that I have a budget. There is no way I will randomly do something that I had not planned for and still expect things to be okay. So if it's entertainment, I know I am only working with 2,000 the whole month. I will not randomly meet my friends and decide to spend 5,000. If I spend 5,000, it means that something else is going to suffer on that list. So my question is, what is going to suffer on the list? Are you going to decide you won't pay rent? Are you going to decide you won't do debt? Yeah, then let me come back to debt. Speaking of debt, I just want you to know that this doesn't apply to everyone. So if you don't have any debt, it means that you have an extra 4,000 to spend versus someone who has loans. Yeah, and if you have high amount of loans as well, it means that you have to pay more than that 4,000. So that means you have to squeeze on the other sections and the other segments of your budget. So guys, generally this just goes to show you how you can do a budget, how you can divide your items, and just showing your money where it should go. Do not randomly spend. Do not decide this month I can do personal care for 5,000. Question is, when you're doing personal care for 5,000, what is suffering in return? Because some things are fixed. Your rent will still be there. Your transport will still be there, and food will still be there. So you have to be wise. Yeah. Know that every shilling is already planned for. You have to be disciplined. That is the whole point of budgeting. Yeah. So adjust accordingly to your income, and know that whatever amount you have, you can always do something. You're the one who decides where your money goes to, not the other way around. Right?